Welcome to the How-To Factory, the channel where we reveal the secrets behind how your favorite foods, drinks, and everyday essentials are made. Cupcakes, small, sweet, and endlessly customizable. Whether they're topped with swirls of buttercream, filled with gooey centers, or sprinkled with rainbow confetti, cupcakes are a dessert that feels personal. But have you ever wondered how these single-serving treats go from batter to bakery box on a massive scale? Today we're stepping inside a commercial bakery to see how cupcakes are made. Whipped, baked, decorated, and delivered in batches of thousands. But before we dive into the mixer, let's take a bite out of history. The cupcake's origins date back to the late 18th century in America. Back then, they were often called number cakes, not because of any birthday candles, but because of their simple, easy-to-remember recipe. 1 cup of butter, 2 cups of sugar, 3 cups of flour, and 4 eggs. They were typically baked in teacups or ramekins, which is how the name cupcake stuck. By the 20th century, paper liners and muffin tins became common, making cupcakes easier to bake and transport. And once frosting entered the scene, game over. Cupcakes became a bakery staple, a birthday tradition, and even a pop culture icon. And if this sweet story has you hooked, go ahead and smash that like button like you're cracking an egg, subscribe to the How-To Factory, and ring that frosting-covered notification bell so you never miss a batch of how the everyday becomes extraordinary. Now, let's get into the batter. In large-scale bakeries, cupcakes start with industrial-sized mixers. The basic ingredients, flour, sugar, eggs, butter or oil, leavening agents, and flavorings, are scaled out and poured into massive stainless steel bowls. These mixers can hold dozens of gallons and mix hundreds of cupcakes worth of batter in one go. Consistency is key, so the batter is mixed just enough to combine everything smoothly. Too much mixing, and you lose that fluffy, tender crumb. Next, the batter is pumped into a depositing machine. This clever piece of equipment portions out the perfect amount of batter into each cupcake liner as trays roll by on a conveyor belt. The liners themselves are automatically dispensed from tall stacks and set into baking trays before filling. Then it's off to the oven. Commercial cupcake ovens are massive tunnel ovens, some as long as a city bus, where trays slowly move through zones of precisely controlled heat. The cupcakes rise, form their domes, and bake to golden perfection in about 15 to 20 minutes. Once baked, the cupcakes are cooled, first with ambient air, then sometimes with cold air tunnels that bring them down to frosting temperature fast. Nobody wants melted buttercream. And now comes the most eye-catching part: decoration. High-speed decorating machines can swirl frosting onto hundreds of cupcakes per minute. They're fitted with rotating nozzles that create those perfect frosting peaks in flavors like vanilla, chocolate, or red velvet cream cheese. Some bakeries add fillings before frosting, like fruit compote, custard, or chocolate ganache, injected with needle-like nozzles. Toppings come next. Rainbow sprinkles, crushed cookies, chopped nuts, or themed decorations are scattered, sometimes by hand, sometimes with precision machines that ensure every cupcake gets the same pop of color. Each finished cupcake is visually inspected before packaging. Whether packed into clamshells, cardboard boxes, or trays for grocery store shelves, the cupcakes are sealed for freshness and labeled with product info and expiration dates. And while the traditional vanilla and chocolate still reign supreme, bakeries are constantly experimenting with gluten-free, vegan, and low-sugar recipes, as well as wild flavors like churro, matcha, or maple bacon. From humble home-baked roots to high-speed conveyor belts, the cupcake has proven that good things really do come in small packages, a celebration you can hold in your hand, and a testament to just how much joy can fit inside a paper liner. So the next time you bite into a cupcake, remember, Behind every swirl of frosting and soft, sweet crumb is a recipe perfected by history, and a factory that runs on sugar, science, and a whole lot of love. Condensed milk, thick, velvety, and unapologetically sweet. Whether it's drizzled over fruit, swirled into iced coffee, or baked into a buttery pie, condensed milk is one of those quiet pantry heroes with a surprisingly rich history and an even richer taste. But how does plain old milk become a syrupy, shelf-stable dessert essential? And what exactly is the difference between condensed and evaporated? Today, we're going inside the factory where milk is cooked, sweetened, and sealed, transforming it into the creamy classic beloved around the globe. Before we pour it out, let's rewind the clock. Condensed milk dates back to the 1800s, when food spoilage was a major issue, especially during long journeys or military campaigns. In 1856, inventor Gail Borden patented a method to preserve milk by removing water and adding sugar, creating a thick, stable product that didn't need refrigeration. By the time the Civil War broke out, the U.S. military was buying it in bulk to feed soldiers. It wasn't long before families across the country were using condensed milk in baking, candy making, and eventually, coffee and tea. Today, it's used around the world in everything from Brazilian brigadeiros and Thai iced tea to Filipino leche flan and tres leches cake. And if you're soaking up these creamy facts, smash that like button like you're cracking open a fresh can, subscribe to the How To Factory, and tap that bell like you're ringing the dinner bell for dessert, so you never miss a drop of how the everyday becomes extraordinary. Now, let's get into how it's made. It all starts with raw cow's milk, delivered to the factory in chilled tankers straight from the dairy farms. Once inside, the milk is tested for purity, quality, and fat content before processing begins. First, it's pasteurized, heated to kill any harmful bacteria. Then it's run through high-powered centrifuges to separate out some of the water and adjust the cream content to just the right consistency. Now it's time to concentrate. The milk is pumped into large vacuum evaporators, massive enclosed tanks where heat and pressure are carefully controlled. By reducing the atmospheric pressure, the milk can boil at lower temperatures, preserving flavor while gently removing over half of its water content. Once the milk thickens into a concentrated form, sugar is added, usually around 40 to 45% of the final weight. The sugar not only sweetens the product, but also acts as a natural preservative, preventing the growth of bacteria and giving condensed milk its famously long shelf life. After sweetening, the mixture is cooled and stabilized, often with a bit of lactose crystallization to help maintain the smooth, uniform texture. From there, it's filtered one last time before heading to the filling lines. Thick, syrupy, and still warm, the condensed milk flows into sterilized cans, which are then vacuum sealed, labeled, and packed into cartons for distribution. Quality control teams check every batch for consistency in taste, texture, color, and sugar levels. And because this product travels across the globe, labels are often printed in multiple languages, for markets from Latin America to Southeast Asia. And here's a sweet twist for the future. More companies are now offering plant-based condensed milk alternatives made from oat, coconut, or almond milk. They're designed to mimic the same sweetness and richness, opening up condensed milk classics to more diets and preferences. From fresh dairy to dreamy desserts, condensed milk is a marvel of food, science, and flavor. Proof that a little ingenuity and a lot of sugar can make milk last forever and taste even better. So the next time you crack open that little can and watch the golden ribbons pour out, remember, it's not just milk. It's a legacy of innovation, preservation, and sweet, sweet satisfaction.